where the drama starts. Lap 38 laps to go. Sam Dobie hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Poleski dives on the right side. Very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys. Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Poleski. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. Well, now it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the left car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Juna Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will cook the grass. Oh, a 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernald. Gernald will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
Last week showed that Steve Bycroft can take the fight to Freesia. While the championship may already be over this season, things are turning towards a high note for the Hoosier. Can he keep the momentum up and take Suzuka as well? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 12 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Mick Claridge. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Some of the most iconic corners in racing reside at this track. For a closer look at what it's like to drive them, why don't we head on down to our track guide?
All right, we've got Juha Nuorlampi in the GSRC Lotus 79, so let's do a lap around Suzuka. Coming down to turns 1 and 2, it takes some bravery attempting any kind of pass with the curved braking. It kind of acts as one long arc, but turn 2 is more the hairpin part of the bend and requires a late apex. Crossing over, you're going to set up for the S's, which is an extremely line-dependent portion of the track. Ideally, you want to set the car up for each following corner, rather than focusing on tracking out for each exit. Keeping your rhythm will be critical. It'll be mostly single file through here unless someone makes a huge mistake, but it all culminates in the launch in a Dunlop. Through this long sweeper, you'll be flat out and just drifting it off to the left to make sure you hug the inside on the exit. Then brake hard for Degner 1 and try not to get into the AstroTurf so that you can set up for Degner 2. Use the banking here as best you can to carry your speed, then get ready for the hairpin. This is a good overtaking spot, but the kink on entry means sometimes you can't tell if someone will defend until it's too late, so keep your head up. Square off the exit and get to the power as soon as you can without creating wheel spin. You're not going to be lifting again until you get to Spoon. You might sometimes see some passes get set up along here, but the entry to Spoon is so quick it makes it kind of hairy to execute. Besides, once you come off the second sharper apex, it's really much smarter to focus on the launch from here. That's because it takes you onto the uphill climb along the backstretch. You're going to see a lot of slipstreaming, which will create some nervous 2-wide scenarios into 130R. Thankfully, it's easily flat out in the Lotus, but you could still see problems come out of it. Then comes your last good chance for a pass, the Casio Triangle. Hard braking down into here from one of the fastest parts of the track offers prime real estate for overtakes. If you stay side by side through the chicane though, it'll be easy to trip over one another. Be easy on the power exiting the corner to keep from spinning the car, and hopefully if you kept it all together, you've now finished a lap around Suzuka.
They see from on board what it's like around here. And Mick, even though this track was a little bit later to F1 than this car, it's seen some just legendary F1 races in the real world.
Yeah, it truly has, Joe. This car just fits this place like a glove, don't it? I love watching the 79 around here. One thing to note, I watched the last race and it's been said on the forums, this is a seriously hard track to get this car around. These really high speed corners are really tough. You can see there's 17 turns and some of them are real hard challenges. 3.5 miles, just over 5.8 kilometers. This is going to be really, it's just going to be a massive challenge for the guys, especially on the cold tires. Not forgetting about that.
Yeah, and we'll talk about what the weather is like on those tires in a little bit. Before that, let's head over to the championship. Of course, up at the top, Freesia has already solidified things and cannot be caught. Matt Wood and Steve Bycroft in a very tight fight for second place. And I have to check and see if we even have Matt Wood here today. And I do not see his name. So it looks like Steve will probably come out the victor of those two and move up into second. And it's a long ways down before you get to Fernandez and Kochi to round out the top five. Well, they don't call it the Classic Teams Championship for nothing. So, Mick, why don't you fill us in on how the team standings are?
Yeah, Scuderia Ferrari up there at the lead. They've cleaned. They haven't cleaned this up. Elf Tyrrell just 2 points behind there. Water Wolf Racing, I love those Wolf cars. In third spot, 31 points behind there. And the Parmalat Racing team, you'll see Nicola Koch driving that car today. And Arrows Racing team down in fifth spot, 50 points behind. Great to see the old classic team paints going on there, Joe.
Absolutely. I love seeing the cars whip around here and the paints that they've got up. But let's see how much they're going to be whipping around here with the, of course, race details that we've got for today. Last round of the season, only 23 laps because it's actually a relatively long lap around here. And then, of course, they have penalties. If you run over 17 incidents, you'll be given a stop and go. If you run over 25, you will actually be disqualified, disappear on the spot. The open setup could be important, but they do share setups a lot in this community. So drivers have probably been trading notes just to try to help one another out a little bit. Now, right now in the qualifying, Steve Bycroft looking pretty good. He's been strong. And is Gernot here today? I understand that he raced earlier this morning. Yes, he is. So
he's here.
Looks like he hasn't set a time yet.
Yeah, I think Gernot's doing his old trick of a nice slow out lap to save those tyres for the hot laps. I'm pretty sure that's what this guy does. Still not sure how he does this, are we, Joe? Really, how does he get this car on pole position all the time? And how? I mean, is Steve right about saying that he's found something else this season and sped up? Really interesting to notice differences between the cars.
You see him coming out of Spoon now. He might have wanted. Oh, as he almost loses it out of Spoon. Actually, I was just about to say he might want to take it easy on that first lap on the tires because it's actually 92 degrees Fahrenheit on the track. It's not super hot, but relatively hot, so we could see them burn up, especially with some of the fast corners around here. He gets it woed up down into the Casio triangle, but a little bit hot into the corner. He's hustling the car. This is only his first lap. If this one doesn't count, he's got to get a banker in next time. It does count. It's a 46.7, and that's actually good enough for second place.
Yeah, I was watching the race earlier, Joe. He did actually speed up on his second lap. So just going to see if that happens again today. I can't remember what the weather was in the last race. I really wish I'd have taken note of that. So going to be interesting to see if he can speed up on this second lap. But I was just watching him through 130R there. We'll show the guys, anyone who doesn't know that corner. This car is pretty much flat out around that corner, but it's right on a knife edge of losing traction. Like a lot of these fast corners, as you see going up, just heading up the hill now. Another corner which is really tough in this car. Just down round to the right-handers now, down under the bridge. This is a really tough exit to get right. And then you've got the really slow hairpin now, braking hard down into the hairpin. Again, it's really hard to get on the power out of this corner.
Watching a few of the other cars finish up their laps. Also, you may have noticed at the top left of your screen, Sergio Fernandez is your new pole sitter. He went quicker than Bycroft, who finished his second lap and was not able to improve. Looks like David is not going to take his second lap as we watch Craig Hobson now. He's sitting in 28th. Does not go higher as he's about 2/10 slower on that second lap. Ossian Puhaka is back as well, by the way. He goes up to fourth.
Shout out to Ossian.
Yeah. So obviously quick despite a brief respite from this car. Pablo Suarez, second lap doesn't count for him. Must have had an off track. Let's head back to Freesia because he's finishing up right now. Is he going to take the pole? He comes across the line. It's a 46.5. That's 2/10 quicker. And indeed, he goes to the top spot.
Wow. Pretty close between him and Sergio there. Just a couple of thousandths of seconds. Sergio's on it. He wasn't wasn't on that kind of pace in the earlier race today. So this is a really good session for Sergio. Can't wait to see how he performs in race trim.
And Ove Trangrade has yet to set a time. This is going to be his only timed lap if he gets it. It's going to be right down to the wire here with just seconds left. Let's see what he's able to put down in that Honda-themed machine. It's a 48.9, so it puts him into 18th. Not the best we've seen, but obviously at least he's got one on the board.
Yeah, the sponsor will be happy with that paint, won't they, Joe, at this track?
Yeah, I bet the virtual fans will like that. All right, that means our results are finished. So let's go through the starting order of today. It's Gernot Frischa on the top spot with Sergio Fernandez starting behind him by less than a tenth. Then you've got Steve Bycroft starting P3 with Ossian Puhaka in fourth place. Timu Vascalampi starts P5 with Nicola Cocci on the outside of row 3. Then you've got Chris Baumann in 7th. Martin Grandberg starts P8. Then it's John Stevens in 9th and Julian Flore rounding out your top 10.
Dustin Herrera in 11th spot there, just in front of Pablo Suarez, 12th. Sam Derby in 13th. Gilles Tau in 14th spot. Tobias Rona in 15th. Alessandro Parigi in 16th. John Atkinson Jr. in 17th. Uwe Trangarade in 18th there. Robert Plumley in 19th. And Luka Lekcevic in 20th spot.
21st goes to David Azevedo in 21st. Keith Turner, a little far down for him, 22nd, with Timothy Reed in 23rd. Then you got Robert Simpkins in the 24th spot, followed by Daniel Banker in P25. Barry West is in 26th today. Then you've got Antonio Alvarez in 27th and Steve Sarles in 28th. Next row has Ray Smith to the inside in 29th. You got Craig Hobson in 30th. Last two drivers to get a time in were Masson Pascal in 31st and Todd Turner in 32nd. Kineski, Dizdarevich, and Doolittle did not take qualifying times. They were starting at the back of the field. Waiting for just a couple more to find their way out to the grid. A large field today just below the split number at 35. So it could be a packed track, even though it's a long lap around here. The final round championship is decided. Second place should easily be taken by Steve Bycroft. So now the question is, how well can he finish as the engines rev? The lights are up. Green flag is out. Off the line, it's looking like a decent start from Frischa. Second place, not so much. Sergio Fernandez falling victim as look, they almost go 3 wide there. I think that's Nicola Cocci getting his nose to the inside. They're going to get that sorted out by the time they get through 1 and 2 here. Almost banging wheels as they come out through the rest of the field. I'm not seeing any accidents, so I think we're good.
Yeah, great start by Gernot there, Joe. No accidents whatsoever. I've got my camera set on to... Oh, there is one at the back I spoke to soon. Masson Pascal spins it right at the back of the field there. He's come back on just in front of Lauren Doolittle. Looks like he's okay though.
Yeah, a little bit of a touch, but I think he's able to get the car going. He just got pushed around by somebody, didn't quite see who. Regardless, at least he was able to recover. Meanwhile, up at the front, you can see a little bit of a battle back there. Going for fourth place, that's Vascalampi holding off Puhaka, Cocci, Baumann, all in a train directly behind him.
Yeah, nice and clean for all these corners now for the guys up front. Here they go into the spoon for the first time. Nicely through there for Vascalampi. Just watching Ossi and Puhaka. Long time since we've seen him in the car, isn't it, Joe? Great to see him back for the last race.
Clearly has not lost any speed, and I think we had an incident with John Atkinson Jr. because he's flying down my timing and scoring. We'll get back to that in a little bit. Who is this coming side by side in a 130R? That is between Ossi and Puhaka, Nicola Cocci, and looks like trying to make out who that third car is. Timu Vascalampi and the Dark Machine. Looks like Ossian's going to come out on top of it in fourth place. Timu falls to fifth, and Cocci still riding in P6.
Yeah, I was looking at Cocci there. I thought we were going to have 3 wide there into the chicane. That would have been unbelievable. Cocci's going for the inside into turn 1 here. I don't know if he's going to just read up the curb, didn't he? He's got the line though, Joe.
He's got the bit between his teeth is what he's got, and they're still side by side coming into the S's, but Timu's going to back out of it early in the race. Only lap 2. He's not willing to risk it yet. Just behind them, we caught flashes of the fight that was between Grandberg, Baumann, Stevens, and Heroder. Looks like Granberg is going to take 7th of among those 4. Bauman slots into P8. Stevens, Heroder, they're still not done with things. They're being followed by Suarez, Doby, Fleuret. Again, the trains are just stacked up by sheer numbers. No one able to get away from one another.
Yeah, that train goes all the way back to Uwe Trengrade in the Honda car. That's a hell of a battle, isn't it? There's only a small gap between him and the car that's behind him now, Luka Lekjovic, and that goes all the way back down to 27th spot, pretty much. Everyone's really close at the mid-pack backward.
See Uwe in his bright white with the red rising sun as he comes up towards Spoon Curve, just kind of hunting people up ahead, waiting for the battles to erupt, and he knows that'll slow them up and give him opportunities. Slipstream will help too as they start to come down the backstretch. Steep climb uphill, and then it's right through 130R.
Yeah, as I said in the pre-show, 130R is really tough, Joe. You can just see Uwe coming down there. Just enter it now. Just a little tiny amount of steering because the car almost wants to rotate round that corner on its own. Nicely through there, and the tyres are just starting to warm up now, so everyone's going to feel a bit more confident in the car. As you can see there, guys going over Fritz.
Because Sergio Fernandez just got overtaken by Steve Bycroft with a good head of steam, and he streams by. So that moves the number 2 into P2, but he's got a 2.5 seconds to make up to Gernot Frische already.
Yeah, I think that's just enough if he's got the pace, isn't it, Joe? He did have the pace earlier on in the last race. His car did look a bit jittery, and as I said, he did have a bit of a problem with 130R. But yeah, I think Steve might be able to close this gap up by the end of the race. No mean feat, but let's see how he does. I'm hoping he can. It's last race. Come on, let's have a battle for the lead.
That settled. Let's head back to Martin Granberg, still holding off Chris Bauman. This is for 7th position. They come out of the Degners. Ooh, this is looking like a great opportunity for Bauman. Number 10 right behind him, but he starts to fall off, and a defensive move on top of things from Granberg into the hairpin. Oh, but a great exit. Look at this. Could Bauman maybe pull an over-under of sorts?
It's going to be on for the spoon curves, I think. Bauman's got a nice way. He looks as though he's backed off slightly, doesn't he? I don't know if he's planning to go for a pass into the hairpin after 130R. Oh, just behind them, I was just watching John Stevens ran really wide through the spoon curve there in the Williams car. Dustin Rhoda's right on his gearbox as well now. He's probably going to get a nice toe there.
I think Bauman's got too much wing in it.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, Joe. He's really topping out. He's topping out 150. That's really low speed, that is.
Wow, and just behind them, Fleuret and Doby went side by side through 130R and managed it. That actually gave Doby 12th position. A nice move. Very gutsy stuff. Let's take a look at it one more time. Actually, I think Doby was ahead, so this was a successful defense, I believe.
Yeah, you're right.
Whoa. After you talking about that, I can't believe they risked that.
Yeah, it's really tough, Joe. I can't emphasise it enough. I did a bit of practice myself, like I always do every week in this car, just to see what the guys are up against. And yeah, it's not for the faint-hearted around there. You know, it really is tough.
So as we stay with Fleuret, still trying to give chase. He's also got Toe Parigi behind him. But we're going to take our eyes back to Granberg and Bauman. This has got to be frustrating. Look at Bauman get the exit off the corner. He knows he's strong in the corners. He knows that's where he's got to get it done. Unfortunately, it's going to start to go away once again. And behind them, we got a wreck. Oh, a big wreck. Luka Lekovic had a monster of a hit into the barrier coming out of the second Degner. I think he straddled the curb.
Yeah, it's really tough. He's just got on that outside curb, hasn't he, Joe? And just launched the car up in the air a bit. Just had his foot down too hard. You've got to come off the power there when that happens. It's really hard to do, though.
Oh, happens so fast. So I think he unfortunately had to take a tow. So as we come back to the lead, Frische now leading actually by 1.9 seconds. He's starting to stretch away from Bycroft, but Steve at times has been quicker over the long run. Let's head back to fourth because Puhaka is dealing with Nicola Kochi, and I think Kochi might have the run to the inside, but Ossian's going to deny him. Takes it in deeper into 1 and 2, so the Italian's going to have to give another go later.
Yeah, and Ossian's just probably getting warmed up in the car after no practice for about 7 months or something like that. So great to see him on pace and mixing up with Nicola like this. Really great pace by the two guys. Ossian's super impressive in this car. I think I'm pretty sure he's still got the world record lap for the Nürburgring in this car, hasn't he, Joe?
I'd have to check. I think I remember him mentioning something about that. And Kochi seems to really like that first corner. I'm surprised he didn't pull that off because he managed it over Vascalampi a few laps ago, remember?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
work out the same.
Yeah, it just looks like Ossian's got a little bit more. Oh, Nicola was really sideways out of the hairpin there. That's opened the gap right up now. No luck for Vascalampi though to catch up with him. That gap's too big. But yeah, I think Ossian's got a little bit of a pace advantage. Have to give it a couple of laps to see what's going on, but yeah, it looks like Ossian's quite strong.
As they come up the back stretch, I keep having my eyes go back to Chris Baumann because he's so fast in these turns, but as we take a look at it, you're going to see once again, he falls away. He was less than a car length behind Granberg off of Spoon Corner, and still he is dropping off. And you can see how far he's fallen away. In fact, he's under threat a little bit. If we look behind him, John Stevens almost caught him by the corner, and he's driving it hard into the Casio triangle. Baumann's trying to make everything he can up into twisty bits.
Yeah, I can't believe Chris is still quite fast through the last chicane there. But yeah, I was watching that the lap before, and I noticed the same thing. And look at it here. I mean, Chris has got to go defensive just to make sure that John can't get him there. Chris has really chucked a load of wing on this car today, ain't he?
And I think we need to go to a replay of Puhaka because he just got overtaken by Kochi. I said Kochi liked that first corner, and he finally got it done this time. Let's take a look at it. Ossian, though, tried to come back at him even. Let's watch this. Once again, just gets a good run out of that final chicane. Ossian trying to cover him off. And then once he's through, look at this over-under move. He gets his nose in, but Kochi's wise to that. He cuts him off.
Yeah, he really sniffed that one out, didn't he? He really wanted a bit more of that there. Quick dive down the inside, but yeah, pretty good driving there from Nicola. Maybe I'm wrong, Joe. Maybe Nicola has got the pace here as well. Can't wait to see how this one ends up. This looks like a great battle till the end of the race, hopefully.
Yeah, it looks like it should be some fun. Meanwhile, don't need a replay, but Tobias Rohner had an off at the hairpin, managed not to hit anything. It was a lone car incident. He returns just losing maybe about 3 or 4 places. Puhaka still not giving up on things. Look at him take a peek coming up to 130R, getting himself in the mirrors of the Italian. Kochi defensive at first, but back to the racing line, down into the Casio triangle, little deep into the corner. Ossian going to try and pull the move back, and whoa! Almost coming across the nose of Ossian Puhaka. Kochi nearly losing it, and in fact, he's going to be under threat because Vascalampi looks pretty quick off of the chicane. Is he going to have a whiff of it? Just a little too far back as they finally break into turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, it just shows you how tough it is, doesn't it, Joe? You sort of get into a false sense of security thinking that this car's on rails and it's just so easy to ham around these corners, but you just saw it there. You just give it a slight bit amount too much power, and that's it. You know, you're going to lose the back end, and nearly took Ossian out there.
Well, speaking of which, John Stevens, if we want another good replay, he just got overtaken in a turn 1 by Dustin Heroder. And in the process, actually lost another position. He got muscled out wide. Here we go. We got the replay up.
Yeah, it would have been okay if he hadn't gone on the AstroTurf bit. He did a wall of death around the turn 1, didn't he? It would have been fine if he never went on the AstroTurf there.
I mean, great heads up though, because a lesser driver maybe could have lost the car, but he eased it up and kept it from spinning around on himself.
Yeah, me. Like I'm the lesser driver.
I would have too. Trust me. We got some information on that world record of yours. Ossian no longer has it. It is now Steve Bycroft, interestingly.
Well, that would have been this season, wouldn't it? Yeah.
So that changes shape of things. Wonder if Austin will try and get back out there and try and get that one back.
I'm pretty sure he had it for a long time, didn't he?
Yeah, it was quite a while, I want to say. Meanwhile, as we watch them come down into 130R, this is Doby chasing Stevens down into the Casio Triangle, rather. Everyone nice and smooth on the throttle coming off of that last chicane. Not missing much up at the front right now. Most of the battles have separated. No change for position up there. In fact, no change of position among this train, as they're just going to stay in line.
Just one thing to note, Steve was actually faster the lap before this one. Gernot was actually faster this time by. So it's quite even up the front, even though there's a gap. But Steve, I think they both had a good clean lap. Not this lap gone, but the one before. And Steve was slightly faster, only by a couple of tenths, but it's enough. You know, like I said before, Gernot did have a couple of moments in the race earlier where he was coming out of these fast corners and losing the back end, and it was really upsetting the car. And it was amazing to watch, to be able to see him hold on to the car. But so it only takes a few of those, and it knocks your confidence a bit, and then Steve's going to start feeling the urge to push even harder, you know. But
absolutely,
yeah, it's going to be a good one. This is going to be a lap time battle, I think.
Well, and I was going to say, any viewers who think that this is over because Steve has lost some ground since the start, again, we've seen Steve find something in the setup that's just stronger at the end of the race. So I think this is still very much on. Looking through the order, Baumann, again, has been teasing. He's still stuck behind Gramberg. Although I think Baumann might be under attack because Dustin Heroder, Dustin's coming up on him. A big defensive move down into the Casio Triangle from Baumann just to keep him behind. That actually checks up. Whoa, and a slip up coming off the turn. Baumann nearly loses it, trying to goose the throttle. Here comes Heroder down to the inside, and so does Pablo Suarez. It's 2 positions down and 1 straightaway. Suarez might be 2 up if he fancies it on Heroder, and he does not. He's going to stay behind. Just like that, one little mistake is costly for Chris Baumann.
Yeah, just watching the guys behind as well, Joe. John Stevens under pressure from Sam Doby now, and Julian Floret's just behind now. This looks as close as the battle ahead. It's only going to take a small mistake between any of these sort of 6, and there's 3 guys behind that. Let me just go and check who they are. That's Gilles Tau, Alessandro Parigi, and Uwe Trengerade. They're not far behind either.
I get the sense that something's brewing here.
Yeah, something's brewing, isn't it, Joe? You got it, you know?
Especially if someone in the front group makes another mistake, that's just going to stack all 3 of these groups together very, very quickly. And that could be very interesting if we get 9 cars fighting for what is effectively 8th position, currently held by Heroder. You can see everybody now coming into Spoon Curve. We've watched poor Baumann drop off. Oh, Baumann with a big slide once again. He is overdriving that car like nothing else.
Great catch. Gernot Fritsch, fastest lap again. Oh, Steve's taking it. Taking it by a 10.
Oh, we got to go back to Baumann and co. because it's a side-by-side battle between John Stevens and banging wheels with Sam Doby into the Casio Triangle. It looks like Stevens holds him off, but Doby now slowed up, and Julien Fleuret is on the outside with a head of steam. Down the front stretch, he's going to be fully clear.
Yeah, Sam was really horrible after Shane after that, wasn't he? Really slow. Down into turn 1, though, nice line from Sam there. He's having a look at the inside. I don't know if you want to be diving up there like that, but he thinks better of it, and wisely so.
And that was exactly like we said before, that Baumann made a little bit of a mistake, and he was slow coming up to the triangle, and that's all it took for Stevens, Fleuret, Doby, all to suddenly get in a tussle to try and sort a position out. They're all hungry. It seems like passing opportunities, though it's making drivers desperate today.
Yeah, and the group behind are catching them now. Jill Taut, Alessandro Paridi, and Uwe Trengere. These three guys are catching, and actually the guy behind those, Robert Plumley, he'll be twitching as, and he's catching this guy, this group as well. So it's just got like the potential to be a huge fight between about 10 or 12 cars.
Just incredible stuff for an idea for our viewers. From, let's see, about 10th place, it's looking 6 seconds back to 17th. That's how tight everybody is here in the mid-pack. Right on board with Plumley looking ahead.
I was going to say, Joe, have we ever seen a battle this big, as close as this for a whole season? I don't think we have.
Not for a while. There's also, I mean, it's not just that, but you look behind them, Timothy Reed, Roner, Azevedo, Barry West, Alvarez, Kineski, Atkinson Jr., they're all together too. They come on the front stretch. Closest one looks like you can see the yellow car, Barry West back there. He's under threat, big time under threat. Alvarez might have an opportunity. And I see a car stopped in front of them. I think that's Parigi who's off course.
Oh,
we might have another car off course there. I think that was Kineski.
Yeah, it was, yeah. How is he out of position, Joe? I can't remember where he started. Where did he start?
Kineski didn't put a lap time in.
Right.
No, yeah, he didn't qualify.
Right, so he's come from 33rd on the grid and he's up to 24. Wow.
And Parigi is now a part of this group, unfortunately. I'm trying to figure out what happened to him. Oh, he was trying to make a pass and lost control of the car on his own. I think it was Gilles Tau who saw him come right across him. If we want a good replay, let's take a look from Gilles' perspective, because his onboard is going to look frightening. You're going to see a car come to the inside. Look, he's trying to defend. It's a little too late, and then whoop!
Wow.
That'll fill your race suit. All right, we're getting close. Actually, we are halfway through this race. Freesia about 2.3 seconds ahead of Bycroft. So Bycroft's keeping it steady. He's not lost ground. In fact, he's gaining little bit by little bit. It's 2.2 now. Let's take a look at it. We saw Bycroft take the fastest lap recently. That's gone back to Freesia since we last looked.
Yeah, Freesia put in a hell of a lap, a 47.150, and that's opened it up slightly. That was only a couple of attempts faster than Steve last time by. So, yeah, it's what we on lap 12 now. So, yeah, so halfway through, Joe. So yeah, I mean, if Gernot's tyres are going to start going off, or his setup, or whatever reason it is that the car does seem to sometimes go off, now is the time it needs to happen for Steve, isn't it, really?
Yeah, he's got to start hustling and reel him in. The thing is, I feel like we can't stress enough, Mick, as we check in on the battle here between Suarez and Baumann. Baumann's still dealing with that lack of straight line speed. Even though they're not constantly passing each other and it's not this big back and forth battle, Bycroft and Freesia, they are pushing. I can't fathom the pressure that they're feeling inside the cars, the way that they're trying to get these things to the end as quick as possible.
Yeah, and it's all about the setup as well, Joe. I mean, to be fast, you have to be nice and loose, as we all know. You know, you don't want a horrible tight car with a load of understeer. That's what I'm talking about. You know, when you get to these corners like 130R or at the end of the S's where you go up the hill to the left, the car is a real handful. It is not easy to drive. These guys, for anyone who doesn't know, these guys put in hours and hours and hours of practice to get up to this speed in this car. You're fighting real live people here, so you have to do it if you want to be up front. You know, it's not easy. Coming off these corners is so tough in this car. The car's got so much power. And look at the back wheels on it. You know, they're enormous, but that Cosworth DFE's just still got too much power in second gear to come off of these corners and be gripped up.
Cars we're watching on screen are led by Hiroder in the yellow machine. Then you've got Suarez, Bauman, Stevens, Flore, and Doby. Again, all the way down to 13th from 8th position. We've been getting little packs like this around the track. As they come down into the Degners. Here we are now watching Ossium Puhaka, who's been leading Nicola Kochi for a while. The reason we jumped over to this is because Kochi was pretty close for a moment, and he seems to have dropped off.
Yeah, he was quicker last time by though, Joe. So it could be on. He was 2 tenths up on Ossian last time by. So yeah, it still could happen.
For those curious, Freesia was a 10th quicker than Bycroft last time across the line. They're actually coming close to crossing the line once again. So let's stay on this battle, but I'll keep you updated on what's going to be happening. As that's a little bit of a look there. I believe Bauman that's Stevens on Bauman.
Yeah, he got nice and close there, didn't he? Look how fast Bauman is through the spoon curves, though. All that downforce on the car really gives him an advantage, but then it all just dies on this straight down to 130R. But let's have a look, see how they are through 130R. Because the car's flat out, I don't see him getting anywhere. So just see if John's under pressure here from Julian Frey now. Julian Frey up the inside into the chicane. Oh, Julian, break. Oh,
they both go off. And that means that Sam Doby snags two positions in one corner. They're still going to keep battling. They're side by side coming off the chicane. They realize the battle is lost, but the war is not finished. They come up to the first corner. Who's going to be the latest of the late breakers into this fast entry around the outside? Julian Flore is brave. He gets a little tap. They actually come together, but Julian sticks it out.
I'm just wondering, Joe, obviously we saw John go off there as well. I'm just wondering if John actually meant to do that. Otherwise, he knew he'd be hit. If he did, then really well done. But I'm not sure he did. There was a lot of smoke coming off those front wheels, weren't there, of John's car as well.
Great heads up. A little bit in front of them. Bauman continues to threaten. I mean, credit to Suarez. He has to know that if he makes a mistake into a corner, Bauman is going to be pouncing. He knows that's where he's strong. And an update while we watch this, Freesia 4 tenths faster than Bycroft last time. I don't know if Steve made a mistake or what, but he's dropped.
Just watching Bauman again. Just loses all this speed down this straight, but watch how fast he is through spoon curve. If he gets it right this time, he should be right up against Suarez as they end up outside the spoon. Let's just have a look. I mean, he's gained on him. He's gained a lot on him there, but he's not gonna catch him just with that horrible wing angle he's got for the straights.
And you know, for all we've been well, actually no. The criticism is merited, I guess. I was going to say he went from 10th to 7th, but I got that backwards. He's gone from 7th to 10th, actually. So I have to imagine that Bauman is probably going to go back and rip that wing off once this race is over. We've had a big accident in 130R, and this is a lone car incident with Julien Fleuret discovering the perils of this turn. Could have been a lot bigger, but he does find the wall.
Did he actually hit the apex curb there? I couldn't quite see on my replay.
I couldn't tell either.
No.
That would have been my guess, but whatever the case, the car just does a full 360. It finds itself pancaking the tires. I think he got away with it, though.
I'll be shocked if he can carry on after that hit.
Yeah, these can be a little bit sensitive, these Lotuses. Low tie, whatever case you want to call it. Oh, and Peter Kineski has had a problem as well. Oh, he got hit. He got hit by Barry West. Trying to figure out if this was kicked off with a mistake from Kineski or what. Yeah, I think it was. Oh, he's already touching the grass before the incident here, and then...
Oh yeah, it looked like he sort of went for a half sort of pass maneuver, didn't he? Did Barry West there and just sort of ramped up the curb and bounced off it.
Yeah, but Peter looks out of sorts here. He's touching the grass. Yeah, he's getting loose and sliding, and that's why he suddenly catches him unexpectedly. West
Yeah.
having to go off track, and that's going to lose him a spot in the process. All right, as we come back live, we're riding with Barry West. He's down to P24. Actually, P23, rather, in the 24th car. All right, what's happened? Oh, what happened to Bycroft? Bycroft, again, way slower. A 47.0 for him versus Freesia with a 46.9. Well, I guess it's only 1/10 off, really, but just continuing to lose ground.
Yeah, well, I know he wasn't happy with the car in the last race. He even voiced that on the chat after the race, was moaning about the tyre wear and stuff like that. And it's been said on the forums, hasn't it, Joe? So maybe I'm just wondering if he's made a setup change in between the two races and he's gone the wrong way.
I think Ossian Puhaka is still shaking the rust off. He's lost the position in Nicola Kochi, and this was a self-made mistake if we want to catch the replay. It was through the second Degner. Let's see here. We've got it reeled up.
Yeah, he actually did well to stop that car from just sailing on into the sand and hitting the barrier. Went really wide for the first one, you see, and then really did well to slow it up for the second one, because you're going so fast through that first Degner, aren't you? And once you hit that AstroTurf, there's not much you can do. So yeah, fair play to him for hanging on to that. This is going to be a good battle, Joe.
Yeah, it will be. I was just going to say, the ever-patient Italian snuck through, but he's not out of it. Not only has he got Puhaka back there, but that little mistake meant that Teemu Vaskilampi could maybe creep into things. As we ride on board with Nicola, looking backwards.
Bit of front end damage on Ossian's car there, I can see.
Don't need to go to it, but Tobias Roner had a spin all on his own out of Spoon. He's recovered without hitting anything. That sends him down to 22nd. Now into the S's among these three, with Nicola Kochi leading the way. Puhaka giving chase. Vaskilampi third in the train. They're way ahead of Martin Granberg by now, about 10 seconds up the road from the next car.
Again, Steve Bycroft a few tenths slower than Gernot that last time by. Gernot's on fire in this race. Steve really lost the back end there. Don't really need to go with there, Sean, but Steve looked like a Lotus 49 there instead of a 79.
Let's take a look at it. Got the replay pulled up. Spoon Curve thankfully does have a lot of paved runoff, but so much costly time. Ooh, yeah, good catch on that. Really smooth catch, honestly.
Yeah, nicely held. That's one thing I've noticed. This is the first Lotus 79 season I've really watched, and so Steve was a new guy to me, but I've really noticed how smooth he is on the wheel. He's a lot smoother on the wheel than Gernot, funny enough. I was watching that last race because I was really puzzled why the cars were behaving how they were. You know, like I said, Gernot's car was a little bit sort of all over the place, but obviously still quick. Steve's it looks like it's on rails, and when you watch Steve drive, his steering inputs and you can't really see the throttle inputs, but I'm sure they're just as smooth. You know, this guy is such a smooth driver. You can see it there where he lost the car. A lot of guys would panic there, throw a lot of steering lock in, get a tank slapper on, but Steve just handled it like he was driving one-handed.
Meanwhile, we were wondering about the battle between Kochi and Puhaka. Ossian's actually dropped off a bit. It's about a second gap now. So Nicola making good use of the clean air that he's got in front of himself to try and stretch away.
Yeah, I'm guessing floor damage after that ride over the AstroTurf. Do you think, Joe? Heard about that before, haven't we?
Didn't even think about that. These cars are so low slung that you probably could do that. Meanwhile, let's go back to 8th place, where Herroder is holding off Pablo Suarez, and poor Chris Bauman still riding in 10th. Of course, if these two fight, that could be the key that Chris has been waiting for. We're on board now with Pablo looking ahead, and there's the mistake. Tries to slow the car up so that he doesn't run into him, and there goes 2 spots, just like that.
There's nothing like timing, is there, Joe, with the cameras?
Man, I thought we were going to see a massive accident the way he was cutting across the inside of that turn. And that was the inside curb of the first apex there. Just clobbered it. Great job keeping it from going worse. So Suarez now up to 8th. Baumann back into 9th place. Is this going to be easy pickings for Hirota, though? We're riding on board with him. Let's see how quickly he catches. Gaining.
Yeah, this
Up
is
in the
looking
130.
good.
Look at that. Doesn't quite get the opportunity, but I'm sure he's watching that and thinking, well, if I can get close enough off the spoon, that's going to be easy.
It's amazing to see how quick Chris is off of the corner, though. Before this is looking good for the turn 1, though, Joe.
And he's already defending. He immediately
Wow.
was trying to go to the inside and then around the outside. Oh, back into
Chris.
it. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Chris Baumann. Well, he knows where his bread is buttered. He has got that car hooked up on corner entry and just takes it back like nothing.
I'm just wondering how many times we've missed this, Joe. Maybe it's best to stay at this battle because the gaps are huge, aren't they? I mean, look at that from Chris. Just
absolutely
so much grip in
loved
the
him.
car. There's so much grip in that car.
I don't think Dustin even knew that was coming. I didn't think that was coming. He just slipped right back inside him and took it away. Incredible. I've never seen a move like that. So Chris Baumann now continuing to fight Pablo Suarez as we watch them come around the hairpin.
Yeah, there's a bit of a gap, but guess what? When we get to the end of Spoon, that gap's going to disappear, and then it's going to open out again, and then Dustin Hirota's going to try it again in the chicane.
He's going to regain some ground here through Spoon. He starts to close back in on Suarez. This is where he tries to make up that time. But Baumann now picking speed up, 145 miles an hour up the hill over the crest, 150, 155. By the time they come up into 130R, off the corner into the Casio triangle, he goes defensive and he's able to get deeper on the brakes, so at least he can defend from way back. And he is going to stay ahead. Look behind him, though. Here comes Sam Doby into the picture.
I can't wait till we get to turn 1, though, Joe.
Gaining once again. Tries to cover him. Oh, but he's going to get to the inside. Maybe an over-under. Was Sam Doby going to try it? No, around the outside. Still strong. He's got to get a great launch off of this turn 2. He does. And now he's into his best part here through the S's. Baumann with an incredibly gutsy race to hold on to this 9th place using what he's got.
I mean, Chris's car looks like it's a Lotus 83 round the corners, doesn't it, compared to everyone else? It's just got so much grip.
Yeah, he's, man, credit to him. When you know what you can do and use it to good effect, might as well. And he's trying. He's coming deep on the brakes into the hairpin, almost making contact with Suarez. That actually could be a pass depending, but he's going to get overtaken right back here because they start to pick up speed on the run to Spoon.
I think they're going to be side by side down to 130R. Whether they are when they get there, I'm not so sure. Chris, look at Chris catch up again now through Spoon. It's just amazing how much grip that car's got. Even on the exit, he can take a really tight line.
He's trying to use the
going to lose out.
Yeah.
I was thinking they were going to be side by side there at the end of the Spoon curves, such as his grip, but
yeah, it's not quite enough. He could next time, depending. For those wondering how the battle for the lead is going, Bycroft is still about 3.8 seconds back from Freesia, so he's not been gaining. Suarez goes defensive down the front stretch. Doesn't really need to, interestingly. So has this battle finally cooled down? I think it has. I think they've pulled apart. Let's check back in on Kochi and Puhaka. I thought that the Finn had dropped off and lost pace on Kochi, but he's got the car under him, and he's got it down to half a second.
Sorry, Joe. That battle hasn't calmed down. Chris was side by side there. He was so quick through the S's due to the difference in the grip. He's had to follow again, but yeah, it's not over. There's just so much difference in the speed of those two cars.
As we've still got the cameras here on the battle between Kochi and Puhaka. I'm keeping half an eye elsewhere. Freesia setting another fastest lap of the race. Up the backstretch, riding in the slipstream. Still trying to keep him honest. Boy, every time they touch that grass on the way in, it scares me in the 130R.
Oh, Nicola was a little bit wide there, wasn't he, through that corner? Back to Chris Baumann now, are we?
Yeah, and once again, just couldn't get side by side like he needed. Suarez starts to pull away, and actually Baumann's got Hirota closing in. Hirota could have a go at it. Nope, he's a little bit too far back, having to brake earlier than that light blue and white machine.
Too wide through turn one, I think, Joe?
Yeah, no, I was thinking the same thing. Here we go again. Baumann initially covers off. He comes back to the racing line. Starting to approach. He's going to cover it off again. And yep, it looks like Dustin isn't quite there.
But that gap
down
to
to 2
Suarez.
to go. Sorry,
Joe.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that gap to Suarez is going to disappear by the time they get to the end of the S's. Look, you can see it now how quick Chris is compared to Suarez now. Just can't find a way by through the end of the S's, can he?
It's the Red Bull problem, I guess. If you're fast in the corners and you're behind someone, well, there's nowhere to go.
Actually side by side there, which normally means me and Joe scream and shout, but it's happened so many times. It's sort of getting a bit run of the mill now.
He's close though, coming up to the hairpin. Not quite there. Oh, but look at this. Dustin closing in a little bit. Off the corner, not quite as strong as Chris. Is he going to have a chance maybe up into Spoon? He's going to close in as they start to pick up speed, and he's not quite there. Once again, yo-yoing away. Chris Baumann trying to take it in deep into Spoon corner. He's right underneath him. Surely he's got to get some sort of slipstream here. He doesn't ride behind him, and he gives it up.
I don't actually think it would help. It might help a little bit, but you can still see him just the pain he must be going through. They're going to be side by side into the chicane again. Yeah, Dustin Rhodes in front actually as they go in.
Oh, in contact behind them. And that was Hirota getting a touch from Stevens, and Stevens makes contact with Doby, and Doby goes around. Doby actually a full 360 before he's able to get it going.
Looks like Hirota's got it, guys. He's actually got first into turn one here. He's in front of Chris.
Let's stay on the replay then. So after we watch Doby, let's go back to Hirota. Oh, and we've come back live. Yeah, Hirota is in front of Baumann now.
And Chris was all over him all the way through every single corner during the S's, and it looks like he's going to get a nice run.
Well, before we can get to the replay, the white flag is out, and Freesia is already coming through the chicane. Checkered flag waving for Gernot Freesia. Took it a little bit easier on these last few laps as the gap came down, but he didn't need to go hard. Another win for the multi-time champion. Bycroft couldn't finish out the season on a victory, but at least he got second with Fernandez. A quiet third place today. Oh, this could be a last gasp for Puhaka, and it is. He's going to send it in deep. Oh, but he comes together with him.
Prost.
Oh, and they come together again. Is this going to lose them both positions? Vascaloppi's going to get through. Vascaloppi is going to sneak into fourth position just because of that incident. Oh, no. If I know Coach, he's not going to be happy with Ossian from that.
Not going to be happy with that.
So what about Chris Baumann? He's lost to Hirota. Is he going to lose another position? Looks like he's managed to keep Stevens behind him. So Dustin gets himself up into ninth place here. Nicely done. And Bauman, unfortunately, falling to 10th on the last lap.
Well, that couldn't have been more an interesting battle, could it, with Chris Bauman there? Just putting in all that wing on the car has just really made it a great race to watch.
Herner across the line, barely ahead of Alvarez and Parigi right together. A lot of close battles to the finish here with a lot of cars on the lead lap. Last of them coming through, though, are going to be West and Pascal. In fact, Pascal is, I believe, the last one on the lead lap. So with that, we're going to take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. That was a great way to finish out the season. What good stuff. We're going to come back with the official results as well as driver interviews, so stick around because on screen you'll see all the upcoming races here on GSRC. Well, that was a wild one, to say the least. I think Mick and I were grinning ear to ear after that finished. Probably so was Gernot Freisha, who managed another lights to flag victory from pole, taking the win. And then Steve Bycroft managed to get into second after qualifying third. Didn't have the pace to manage to challenge Freisha, unfortunately. Sergio Fernandez with a bit of a quiet one in third place, with Timu Vascalopi in P4. Nicola Kochi in fifth, followed by Ossian Puhaka in sixth place. Martin Granberg with a P7 today. Pablo Suarez, so we didn't cover that he actually gained a few positions here from 12th to 8th. Then you've got Dustin Herroder taking 9th, ahead of Chris Bauman, who rounds out the top 10, unfortunately, after fighting for all race long.
Yeah, looks like 11th spot for John Stevens there. He was having a good fight there, wasn't he, for a good chunk of that race. Uwe Trengarade, nice Honda paint, as always, in 12th spot. Jules Tao in 13th, Robert Plumley in 14th, Sam Doby 15th, 16th goes Timothy Reed. 17th, John Atkins Jr. 18th is Keith Hanna. 19th, Antonio Alvarez. And 20th spot, Alessandro Parigi.
21st went to David Azevedo, with 22nd going to Julian Fleuret. Then Tobias Roner, with some problems in this race, winds up in 23rd. Robert Simpkins, P24. Barry West with a 25th, another one that didn't have it totally clean, followed by Peter Konecki in 26. Didn't qualify, tried to climb through the field, and only got up to that 26th spot. Adnan Distarevich was 27th, with Masson Pascal 28th. Everyone from there on down was a lap down, with a few DNFs at the tail of the field here today. We do have our winner ready to talk to us. One of the few drivers that didn't really have an exciting one compared to everybody else. Gernot, I don't know if you heard what was happening behind you, but it was not as calm as it seemed from your perspective.
No, I really need to watch the broadcast later. I think there must have been a fun battle for position 4, but yeah, I don't know the details yet.
So what did it look like for you, though? Because it seemed like, even though we heard some discussion from drivers that the setup on the car was a little bit slippery today, that you looked decent out there. We didn't see too many mistakes from you.
Actually, it was the best race for me this week. For some reason, I really got into a nice flow, and yeah, just pushed a lot because Steve was really, really quick. But yeah, ended up with a pretty much a flawless race. So I'm quite happy with that.
Obviously, we've got a few things coming our way pretty soon, with the next build coming up in a few days' time, actually. Is there anything that you've been eyeing that iRacing has teased that you're excited to test out?
I'm always excited about every single new build. On the other hand, our Lotus usually doesn't get the latest enhancements right from the beginning. So yeah, I'm looking forward for the new time model, but that will arrive later for this car, I guess. Otherwise, yeah, every new build is a good build.
Yeah, it looks like it won't quite get that version 7 yet. But again, congratulations on the win, and looking forward to talking to you next season as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward as well. So thanks, guys, for doing another great season full of broadcasts. And I'm seeing Mick is here as well. So wish him good luck for his world journey, if that's right. So stay safe. We don't want to see any incident points on that travel. So yeah, good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, incident points have a different meaning, I guess, for Mick when he's biking. Speaking of Mick, why don't we hand over to him, because he's going to be talking to second place finisher Bycroft.
Hey, Steve. Good to see you. Second place today. Obviously not as high up as you wanted to be. I noticed I was watching the last race, and you was complaining a bit of tyre wear. I'm just wondering, in this race, did you change your setup at all? Did you sort of go the wrong way with the setup?
Yeah, hey guys. Yeah, I just couldn't find the aero balance this week, so I was fighting that. Gernot, he was running lower downforce and he had better tire wear, so there wasn't really a whole lot I could do. So I was just trying to dial that out, but I just kind of ran out of time. My car was too low, so I was getting too much of the ground effect. And I didn't really discover that until after the early race today. So, yeah, I was just kind of behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, so it sounds like you just run out of time with everything, doesn't it, really, for this race? Listen, earlier on in the season, I remember interviewing you, and you said that Gernot had found something this season. He was pretty untouchable at that point. Since then, you picked your speed up, or something happened. I mean, I noticed that Zolder, you was on pace, and you was actually leading until you had your off. Last week you won. This week you was on pace, and last race you were actually a good chunk. I wouldn't say faster, but you was on pace, and there were a couple of laps where you were quicker. So do you think you've closed the gap in general with Gernot?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say because he locked up the championship a few weeks ago. So I don't know how much.
Oh no, he's trying. Trust me, he's trying. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I mean, on the track he's trying, but it's how much time are you going to put in during the week, to get that extra tenth out of the setup. I mean, really, time is like budget, when you think about it, because we're not spending money, but we're spending our time. So if you spend a couple more hours than the other guy, then you might come out ahead.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, you going to be around next season?
Oh yeah, I'll be back, and then hopefully we get some of our fast guys that have been away for a while, like Ossian. He showed up today. That was cool. Alex was practicing earlier, so I don't know. Maybe we'll get some guys to come back, and then we'll have like 6 or 7 cars that can win races.
Yeah, I agree. Be great to see some fast guys back in the series. Listen, thanks for coming in today, and be good to see you next season, mate.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. You guys did a great job this season. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, Steve.
That was second place finisher Steve Bycroft. And up next, we're going to be talking to Nicola Kochi, who
Cover your
finished in
ears, guys.
fifth.
Cover your ears, guys.
Nicola, we are live, but man, that was a wild finish. I mean, talk about it from your perspective, as well as the battle there with Ossian, because you two had a great one going all race long.
Yeah, guys, that has must been like the most nerve-wracking races I ever done in my whole career. Having Ocean behind me, so close, and we were so different in the setup. So it was very quick in the straight, and he was catching me in the S's. And I honestly, I have really no bad things to say to Ocean. I know that it was on purpose. It wasn't on purpose, and. Maybe from the outside it seemed that I run into Ocean intentionally, but honestly I was just trying to avoid the slowdown because I knew that Timo was very very close to us. So I was just trying to cut the less of the chicane as possible. But when I've gone on the steering wheel, the car would just dash straight because of the grass, and I hit Ocean back. But that wasn't like my revenge in any way. We're just trying to save the position, at least one position, because of Timu, that he was going to catch me, and he catch me anyway. So, but no, absolutely no offense, no harsh feeling to Ocean. I know the guy. He have all my respect for. Even after this race, he maybe just like overshoot a little bit his reference point that was defending because of he was that close. But no offense taken.
We didn't think anything intentional happened there, for what it's worth. I'm glad to hear that you're in good spirits after that. I mean, how do you figure out the sweet spot for you on the setup? Because we did see a few drivers that look like they cranked in too much wing.
Yeah, man. As usual, I have no clue on the setup. I really have no clue. I just keep doing like mods, different adjustment on my setup. But I always end out to make it slower. So I just keep the whole thing that as it is, and I try to get the most out of it. Try to run as close as the limit possible. But I knew and I saw that it was very, very different setup out there, and my car was sliding a lot, honestly. And you have to be a very experienced driver in general, and in particular to this car, even to get to foresee what is going to happen, and to be sure that you have the right balance between downforce, between the top speed, and the tires management and everything. But it's way too complicated for me. I'm just like a simple little guy, drive the the 79, and that's it.
Well, thank you for coming and talking to us, Nicola. Again, great to hear you laughing and smiling about what happened. And hopefully we get to talk to you more next season.
Sure, it was a very exciting race from my point of view. I'm pretty sure that it was from yours as well, and
Oh, yeah.
I copy Gernot and Steve, and I want to wish again all the luck for Mick and his journey, because it seems that it is going to be even more exciting than this race.
Buy me a beer when you see me, mate.
Only once? Nah, that's not gonna happen.
That was Nicola Cocci, our fifth place finisher here today. And then up next, even though it seems like there's no hard feelings, we might as well get the other side of the story. Mick's caught up with Aussie and Puhaka.
Come on, Ossian, give us the meat, give us the pain, mate. I mean, it was a great race to watch. It's great to see you back in the car, mate, obviously. And we just realised that you haven't got the world record for the Nürburgring.
Oh, it was okay.
Sorry, mate.
It was an okay race. Last lap, no hard feelings. I mean, I licked the stamp and sent it, and then Nicola ran wide. I was going to give him the position anyway because that was my fault. And I thought he left a gap there, and then he just ran across the chicane because he didn't want to get a slowdown. So But yeah, I don't have the world record for the Nürburgring, and I don't really care about it because I was the first one to go under 6, and that's all that matters.
Yeah,
I don't think I believe that.
Listen,
I don't
Ossian.
believe that.
Yeah, no, we was talking about it in the race. When you watch it back, we was commentating, and I was just saying, listen, man, Ossian's had that record for a long time. So yeah, really well done on that. But listen, mate, you're going to be back this next season in the car?
I mean, I'm better in the commentary booth than in the car, and as you saw in the last lap, I'm not good at either. So.
Well, you must be a very good commentator, mate, because I've seen you drive the car before, so I know you're pretty quick in the old Lotus 79.
Yeah, couple of points about the race. First of all, I did 0 laps of practice with my race setup, so that was one thing. I changed it at the last minute in the race session, actually. Decided to make a completely new one because I knew that I was going to be nowhere in terms of pace, so might as well remove some wing. Didn't remove enough, but it was okay. So I did that, as we say in Finland, straight out of the beach with, bits of sand between my toes. And the race was actually, it was quite fun.
Yeah, I actually picked up because I normally do a bit of practice before myself before this race happens, so I get an idea of what the guys are going through. And I never saw you in practice, so I actually picked up in the commentary that you probably haven't done any laps. So fair play to you, mate. I mean, you battled hard with Nicola there to be on pace with Nicola, and coming in cold like that, you did really well, mate.
Thank you. Well, I just have to correct you there. I did 15 minutes on Thursday and did some, to quote, I think it was John Stevens. To quote John Stevens, I did some seal clubbing on Thursday in the US split. But other than that, it was no practice, basically.
Yeah, well done, mate. Listen, thanks for coming in, and well done on the fight. And I mean, everyone's looking at that fight as it was just a really good, hard race. So, so don't feel bad about anything. Nothing's gone your way from Nicola. He's fine with everything. Everyone's fine. We're all fine, mate. Last race of the season.
Yeah. Thank you, Mick. And one more thing, Mick, you had an amazing career. We'll be seeing you next week in your farewell race. Man, it's been an awesome. Sorry to hear about the events that unfolded, but I hope you make a trip to Finland. If you ever come to Finland in your bicycle part, we got a ferry going from Finland to Germany, so you can bike from Norway to here. You have all the beer you can drink, mate. All the beer. That's a promise.
Mate, honestly, I know where the ferry lands. I know where you get it. I know what day it runs. Trust me.
Yeah, cheers. See you then. Bye.
Thank you, mate. Very kind. Thank you very much, Elsian.
Well, at this rate, we're going to have an intervention on Mick with how much beer he's being offered by all of our drivers. But we're going to close up as well with a big thank you to the Lotus 79 crew for bringing us back for another season of coverage. You can see the love is mutual between ourselves and the community. And also, thanks to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And thanks to the team today, Nick, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on social media. Our Twitter is @GSR Channel, Facebook is Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram is GSRC_Graham. like to support us, make sure and check out our merchandise store. The link is in the description below. Where while you're there, make sure and click the subscribe button. It'll be this big red button that says subscribe, so you can't miss it. Click it, and then you won't miss a moment here on GSRC. Hopefully we will be back. We are in talks with them for covering next season, and we have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen. So check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, see you on the track.